right, let's get started with our unbox. So today we have some Africa Corps stuff, and of course the main event is unboxing the Michael Wittmann's Last Tiger. But first we're going to unbox some infantry, which I think is pretty cool. So let me cut this open and dive right into this. So this would be part of a mortar team, the Africa Corps mortar team. Let me take my watch off here so it doesn't distract. And the mortar team is a 3-man set. So now, of course, this makes this a partial. So this is a partial of that mortar team, and it's the guy with the binoculars. I really like this model, and I don't mind that I don't have the entire mortar team because this model is really cool. So we can get a closer look here. He's looking through his binoculars. He's got his MP40 at the ready, in really good shape, honestly. I wonder how these sets actually become partials. So this was 2003 was part of the line that was released was 2003. And my handy dandy notes here tell me that the MSRP for the full set is $129. Now, this is back in 2003, which is the original recommended MSRP. Now, I paid $29 just for this model alone, which I think is a pretty decent bargain. I'm not including shipping for that. But it is it is rare to come by. On secondary markets, you could look at anywhere between 100 to well, honestly, 160 plus, maybe 140, maybe 120 if you're really lucky. And then once in a while you get partials. Now, I've mentioned this before. In partials, you do get better per model deals. And the way that I look at that is if you can get, it's my own scale for how to get market deals on secondary markets. And let me just get through this here real quick. So this is AK-029. This is another partial. And this is part of Rommel's staff car. And I think this is just one model. And actually, I'm sorry. I was actually looking at the wrong set. So this is actually, so it is AK-022. That was correct. But the MSRP was 85. So I mentioned, so back in 2020 or 2003, that was the MSRP. So obviously it was quite a bit lower. So nowadays, you're lucky to get this at $185 on secondary markets. And I think this was the same seller. So similar packaging deal here. So going back to my own personal scale that I've sort of discovered buying on secondary markets. The best deals are through auctions. Usually if they're selling bulk auctions, anywhere, 8 to 15 to 20 pieces, depending on what it is. There's a lot of some of the more popular lines, like the paratroopers and the Marines. There's a lot of those bulk auctions going on. And if you can average something around, a really good deal is $24 or below for a model. A great deal is, so excellent would be 24 or below. Great is 30 or below. Average is 35 to 40 per model. His gun is kind of swinging free here. I wonder if that's intended. Probably not, to be honest. Yeah, it looks like the paint has peeled off here. So this is an easy fix. And honestly, it's a pretty low risk fix. So I can just throw a dab of super glue here to keep this in place. So all in all, not too bad. Now this is part of the staff car. This model here, if you've seen it in the picture, he's standing next to the staff car saluting Rommel or the officer that's in charge there. I just love the Africa Corps models. They're really fantastic. I really like these. The MP40 here at the ready. It's just kind of dumbfounded. Oop. I'm ready. I'm right here. He's got the goggles. Dead giveaway that this is Africa Corps. Very interesting. Very cool. The Africa Corps didn't have a lot of models. I don't know exactly how many numbers it had in the series, but not as many as like the WS or the DD series. So here we have AK-055. Another quick note that I just wanted to mention about this partial, this AK-029 partial. So one of the other things that I tend to sort of, these habits that I've sort of started developing, I have this metric called seemingly rare, which is kind of an unorthodox metric. However, there are some sets that just seem to be very rare, at least from my experience looking on eBay and secondary markets. They do seem to be quite rare. And some of these models that I'm going to unbox tonight will fall under that category. So I have an acronym that I use as well for retired and sold out, which is RSO. So I'm going to be mentioning RSO with some of these models, and both of these are RSO. They're retired and sold out. Oops. And of course, if it's retired and sold out, it's going to be worth a lot, unless you get lucky and find an auction that sells them at a pretty decent price. Like I kind of got lucky with these partials, and if I continue to get lucky with these, then I might be able to put the entire set together without actually paying premium dollar for it. All right, so here we go. We have AK-055, and looking at my trusty handy notes here, AK-055 is an MG crew. It is RSO and SR, so retired and sold out and seemingly rare. I don't see a lot of these on eBay, especially ones that are in good condition, which I believe this one is here. So let's pop this open here. I've been really scouting Africa Corps deals because I just really love the models. So here we have, there's some wear here. So there's some display wear. They're not completely mint. There's some rubbing here on this sock. A couple of paint chips there. His face seems to be in good shape. Overall, not in bad shape, I would say. I think decent shape. He's aiming down his, I believe this is the MG34, not the 42. The barrel is a giveaway here. Similar in design with the handle, but this is, I believe, an MG34. Does not have the assault magazine on there, the assault drum magazine. So we have the machine gunner here, and here we have the spotter, or the NCO. He's spotting for, oh, what is this? Oh, just a fuzz. I thought he had a 5 o'clock shadow going here, but it's just a foam fuzz. He's looking through his binoculars. Like, there's a target. Awesome. He's got 2 water canteens. Interesting. Well, yeah, so I guess that's actually something that I see a lot. I guess that makes sense, right? They're in the desert. They need more water. So they carry 2 canteens. Cool. Awesome. Rocking the shorts. There's the German shots. And here we have the supporting soldier. He's in the prone position, getting ready to fire his Mauser. Let's look at his condition here. He looks to be in pretty good shape. He works out. At least he spends most of his time not falling off of shelves or being lumped into boxes with other figures, forcing him to chip his paint. Looks in pretty good shape. He's got the telltale goggles here. He's got the canteens. And this is I think is his like the food supplies here. I think in here the rations, maybe. I don't quite remember. I always forget which one of these. I know these are the water canteens. I'm not really sure what this item here is. But yeah, he's looking down the barrel of his K98, the short carbine. And that's our 3-man set. This is, I don't have a lot of multi-soldier sets for Africa Corps. I do have the AK-016. I have 2 of those. But the Africa Corps sets are fantastic. And so again, this is RSO. It is retired and sold out, which always increases the value. And then also it's seemingly rare, which is my own metric that I apply to models that don't seem to be in supply very frequently on eBay and other secondary markets. I use eBay as sort of my metric for rarity, because if it's not on eBay, chances are that you will not find it in any other places. Of course, there's the, you know, the offhand chance that you might find it on other markets like Tree Frog and other places. But for the most part, eBay is a pretty good barometer for how rare something is. And so I've sort of determined that some sets just seem rare and they're very hard to find. All right, what do we have here? So I know there's a couple. All right, so this is WS-118 moving forward. So this is going to be Germans. This entire unbox is going to be Germans of Africa Corps and the WS series. So this is not the price that I paid for it. And so a quick note about WS-118. So it is retired. WS-118 is retired and sold out. And I'm kind of flip-flopping on whether it is seemingly rare. There was another set, and WS-118 is a set that I had seen a few times prior to actually purchasing it. It does not seem to be super rare. It is rare just by virtue of it being sold out and retired. So there's some base rarity that is applied, but it is not extremely rare as some of the other sets. Here we go. Here's the NCO. He's giving a hand signal here. Like, we must defeat them. Or some other German power move here. He looks very angry. He's very animated with his facial expression. Okay. And this guy here is reloading his Mauser. These two so far seem to be in pretty good shape. The original MSRP for this set was $85. It really just astounds me. I kicked the camera again. It really astounds me some of the original MSRP for a lot of these sets, some of the earlier running sets, is quite low. And this was this was a partial. There was only 2 pieces in this set. I got this at a bargain price. So this one, there's only... Now, I did purchase later on, I did purchase a full set of these. So this was just a partial. And these 2 models seem to be in really good shape, but one of the models is missing. And then we have the original booklet that was part of this. So a full set on the secondary market for WS-118 is, we're looking anywhere between 120 to 180 is what I've seen sort of the range fluctuate. And then sometimes you can get really lucky and find something a little bit lower. Other times you know, it might enter a period of seemingly rare, of SR, my own personal metric that I've developed. And these are obviously not standard metrics. I don't mean to start a trend here. It's just for me, it's a fast way to determine sort of, do I want the set or not? All right, so here we're looking at WS-064. WS-064 original MSRP for this set, the full retail set would have been $89. Now we're looking secondary markets anywhere between 70 to, I've seen as high as $286 to $290. It is seemingly rare, so it's RSO and SR, retired and sold out, and seemingly rare. I do not see a lot of these sets. Now, this might fluctuate from year to year, month to month, right? Like some months, the market might be dominated by certain sets, depending on what's becoming available and what's not. This is not the original box. And but I do think I have I have all 4 figures in the not original box. I don't even know if this is original King and Country foam. This just looks like a dishwashing sponge almost. But let's take a look at the models. I think the condition of these is somewhat mixed. I do try to get deals with these. Yeah, so it looks like this is one of those rubber rifles that can shoot around corners. Yeah, so pretty rough shape, this rifle here. Not very usable. Maybe this is why they couldn't defend Berlin. If they all had rifles issued that looked like this, you're not going to be able to defend against the Russians very well. This set is called The Russians Are Coming, which I think is fitting. So here we have maybe an NCO. Now, this guy's in really good shape here. I can tell the paint is pristine. So this, of course, are the defenders of Berlin, 1945. This would have been towards the end of the war when the Russians were really pushing into Berlin, and the defense for Berlin was extremely desperate. So here we have a hodgepodge of different gear, whatever was left over, seemingly. You can tell there's a mix of different types of camouflage on the equipment. And this, I believe, is a Russian PPSH. I think. I am not sure. It's quite possible. All right, so we have the guy with the Gewehr 43, I believe, with a scope. So this guy would have been a marksman, hiding in the building somewhere, waiting for an opportune moment. And then here we have a infantryman with also. Where did these guys get these rifles issued? The noodle factory? They look quite noodly. This is going to be tricky to repair. This is a problem that DD models have with the carbines, the M1 carbines. They have this issue with this bending, and looks like it's just the barrel. It's not the stock. It's only the barrel, and I think it's a fairly minor. So I can actually bend it back somewhat okay. I'm thinking, well, we're going to be okay here if I just do that. It wasn't extreme, so I'm comfortable bending that back. Okay. So here we go. We've got some interesting camouflage here for the pants. The field gray jacket with the standard equipment here. The helmet camouflage matches this bedroll here. The Desperate Defenders of Berlin, WS-064. Here's a soldier readying. He's also got the Gewehr 43. Actually, is this the Gewehr 43? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. And then he's readying a grenade. Stielhandgranate, a stick grenade. And this had an interesting evolution. The first few models, they started using these in World War I, and they continued to develop and improve the firing mechanism and the trigger mechanism of this grenade to the point where they no longer required you to pull. There's a little porcelain ball down here in this stock, and you would undo this cap and you would pull the ball, which would set off a fuse inside, and when the fuse reached the explosive, that's when the grenade would explode. And of course, it's not a fragmentation grenade, it's a stun grenade. So it's primarily meant to stun your opponents. It was excellent at being thrown into structures like bunkers and fortifications, enclosed environments. Not so great on the field. In the open is not as effective. That's where the American fragmentation grenades were quite a bit more effective, because they would cause multiple injuries, but they of course ran the risk of being thrown back and then injuring the thrower, which is not ideal. Okay, so this is WS-064, original MSRP of $89. Secondary markets running anywhere between $70 to $290. I have seen. Yes, $290. It is seemingly rare because I don't see many of them. So it's one to look out for. It's one of the rarer. There's a couple of Defenders of Berlin sets And this is one of the ones that I find is a little bit on the rare side. I'm going to mix it up here a little bit with a World War II set and a World War I set. And both would be fighting for on the German side. We have here, we have WS111, and then we also have AL035, which is a Turkish model from World War I, from the Gallipoli campaign. All right, let's see, what do we have first here? First we have WS111. So this is a Waffen-SS set. And my handy dandy notes for WS111 tell me that this is RSO, so it's retired and sold out. And also, it is seemingly rare. I do not see WS111. I'm actually really happy with a lot of the German models that I received, a lot of the German sets. Oh, nice, it's got the card. I love it when the card is included in these. Really, really cool. Okay, I do not remember the condition of the set, but it's looking promising because we have the paper. We have the paper wrapped around the models. Yeah, so this is I believe it is retired and sold out, but I don't think it's not seemingly rare. It's not seemingly rare. I do not qualify just because at the time of when I purchased this, there was one more set for sale. And this one looks like it's in fantastic condition. Just looking at this very first model, got the crinkly paper. And then here we have the NCO looking out through his binoculars, holding his trusty MP40 at the ready. Cool. Cool. Oops, fell over. And then we have the second model here is, he's pointing to something. He's like, well, maybe we should go over here. Over here we have more cover. He's got his K98 over here by his side. So it looks like they're discussing a potential plan on how to proceed, how to get the patrol moving here. So I think I've mentioned this before in one of my other videos, but the SS was one of the first military organizations to really use this kind of complex camouflage. The Germans really made use of that in World War II, and many different armies began to emulate that style of uniform. We have the typical field gray pants, but then we have this very interesting camouflage pattern, which would have given them additional protection from being sighted. The SS marking right here on the collar tells us this is a soldier from the SS, from an SS division. Not specified which division, but we can assume that it could be from any number of the active divisions at the time. I'm assuming this is probably Normandy. Short sleeves implies warmer weather, so could have been the early Normandy campaign, or honestly even maybe on the Eastern Front, maybe the Eastern Front as well. We do have some muddy boots here, so it really could be also the Eastern Front. I'm not sure which era Waffen-SS this is portraying, but this is really cool. I've seen this model, the set, a few times, and I really liked it. I like the dynamic poses that these soldiers are portrayed in here. It really gives you a lot of options for dioramas. Okay, and we had one more model in here, and it's without the box. So this would be AL035. Turkish soldier. I believe it's the guy that's running for cover because he does not want to be trampled by the Australian light horse. I do have an unboxing planned for World War I Australians and Anzacs, and because they've piled up quite a bit, so I have to start unboxing them. Here we go. Here's a Turkish soldier. He is running for cover. He is trying to not get trampled by the Australian light horse in Gallipoli. Very interesting helmet. It just looks kind of like, I don't even know what to call it. Some cloth wrapped around this helmet. A very interesting shape. And this looks like a Mauser 98K, the short carbine Mauser, which would make sense. That would have been equipped by the Germans. So here we go. Gallipoli campaign. It's got the fantastic Turkish mustache here, sporting it very, very well. Awesome. Very excited to add this to my collection of, so this is part of the Australian Light Horse, so that's what AL stands for. The AL line. All right, here we go. So that's World War I. A bit of a mix. And now we're going to switch gears and look at another ally of Germany from World War II. And what I'm talking about is, sorry, move the camera again, Italians. So I have not unboxed a lot of Italians yet. And I have started finding deals for these guys. And I'm actively trying to bolster my numbers for that. As you guys know, I do some stop motion stuff, and I do intend to do some stop motion with Africa Corps and Italian forces. And to that end, I plan to build up my forces. All right, so we got the nice big boxes here. So I'm sure you guys saw this, but I'll just point this out real quick, just so there's no mystery. We're looking at IF020, IF021, IF022. I got this as a bundle deal, which was fantastic. A lot of times when you find bundles on eBay, you get them at a cheaper price. People try to bundle them and get rid of them together, which always works in the buyer's favor. Get rid of that box. So let's might as well start with the little guy first. The little box here. This would be this is IF021, and IF021. Looking at my handy dandy notes here, IF021 is it is retired and sold out. So all of these three are retired and sold out, and it is seemingly rare, at least to me. It has it is seemingly rare. So seemingly rare is this sort of nebulous, non-quantitative metric that I use. It's sort of a gut feeling. I look at a model, I'm like, I don't see this a lot. So it's seemingly rare in that case. So yeah, so I don't see this model a lot. The nice thing about this, if you guys have purchased a lot of items on eBay, you know, I'm sure some of the usual suspects as far as sellers, and Sager Soldiers is one of my go-to sellers that I go to on eBay. If they have these guys in stock, they will sell them at the MSRP price. And in this case, it's $35. They also have a nice promotion where they give free shipping on orders over $100. So you get a couple of these soldiers, you get free shipping. You really can't beat that deal. Some of the other Italian models that you find, you'll find them overpriced and way above MSRP price, and you don't get the free shipping. So yeah, so here we go. He's kind of holding it at his waist, holding his Carcano rifle. He's getting ready to shoot. Yep. Very nice, nicely detailed. I really like the Italian uniforms. I'm not sure why, but I just like the uniqueness. It's just very unique looking. They got these like safari hats here with the plume. That's how you can tell them apart, the Italians. So this was IF021. Something that's always really strange, I find. Sometimes the 0 is included when the model is mentioned on eBay listings. They'll say, 0X, and sometimes they don't. And then even the models that or sets, some of the older sets that come right out of King and Country, you will find that the 0 is not included, even though it is somewhat implied. Okay, so here we have some bits and pieces. And this is IF020, and IF020 is retired and sold out. Well, not sold out. Sold out from King and Country, maybe, but there are some secondary, I should say, some qualified or registered authentic dealers of King and Country that work with King and Country. They have to respect, I believe they have to respect the MSRP, because they're not just private dealers. They're associated with King and Country, so they have to respect the MSRPs. And if these are in stock, they will be sold at MSRP. So the MSRP for this model here is, I believe, also $35, and this was IF20. So it is actually $37. On secondary markets, you will find this from $37. If you're lucky to find an authorized reseller, you may find it at MSRP of $37. It may go as high as $90. This one is not particularly rare. This one I do see quite a bit. I even as we speak, there might be 3 or 4 of these on eBay currently, which, depending on how you classify that, is also rare, right? If a couple people decide to buy them, all of a sudden, IF020 is considered very rare. Which I do get the feeling that some of these are sort of flavor of the month, and sometimes they're available, sometimes they're not. So maybe I'm just in this era where these are just not very available. All right, the last one here, we're looking at IF022. So this is another Italian soldier. And IF022 is retired and sold out, but in my notes here, I'm saying it is not seemingly rare, but I was kind of teetering on this one because it is sort of rare, but not so rare that I just don't see it at all. At worst, it's sold by a reseller that is not an authorized King Country reseller, so the price might go up a little bit. So we're looking at an MSRP originally of $35, I believe. Let me just double check. Yeah, $35. And then on secondary market, if an authorized reseller has this in stock, they will respect the MSRP. If not, you are looking of anywhere from $35 with some outrageous shipping amount, or as high as I've seen these go for as high as $120. $95 seems to be about the median price for these, just based off gut feeling. But yeah, so here we have an Italian soldier, from the Italian Forces series with an MG34. And yeah, this is sort of a triple of Italian soldiers that are preparing to fire here. Might go hand in hand with this Africa Corps. You know what I've always wondered is some of these are very similar in pose. I wonder if they reuse the sculpt mostly and then just add things on or remove things as they see fit, just to create another type of soldier from a different army. Because I would imagine that you can just kind of add on and remove from the mold to create new soldiers from different armies. So we have come to our grand opening of Michael Wittmann's Last Tiger. So I have looked and researched who Michael Wittmann is. He is a tank ace from World War II that fought for the Germans. And apparently he was the poster boy for German tank drivers. And there were others. So here's the box. Enormous box. I'm going to cut this open here, and then I'm just going to sort of bring it in from the side because I don't want to crush the other soldiers that are here. And it turns out that there's one other tank ace, a German tank ace, by the name of Knisper or something like that. And he had more confirmed kills than Michael Wittmann, Michael Wittmann, but he sort of was not a very, he was not a model SS guy. He sort of despised military hierarchy, and so he didn't really play along. He was killed in April 1945, and Michael Wittmann was killed in August of 1944, somewhere near Villers-Bocage. So he has 138 semi-confirmed kills. So that number is disputed widely. And oh, cool, the turret actually moves. I didn't think that it would move. Some of the King Country tanks don't move. So here we do have a little bit of damage. So I got this. So this is an interesting model because of the MSRP originally for this tank, and this gives you an idea of how old this set is, was $99, the original MSRP. And nowadays you are lucky to see this listed for $400 if it's in decent condition. I got this for around $200 at an auction, and again, I just got lucky and nobody bid against me, which was astounding. I assumed that this would be a hotly contested item, but it wasn't. Maybe because it was a little bit damaged, but so here we have some. This is the original box, and so we do have all the models. There's 3 models that are part of this, and there's some damage on the tank itself. We can see there's some damage on the turret, a couple of small chips on the tracks, which I believe are minor, honestly, so I'm not concerned about that. And let's look at the body. It's very heavy. Feels very, very heavy. So this is that, I believe that polystone material, right? Yeah, but it's just so hefty. So here we go. This is Michael Wittmann's last Tiger. There's a lot of controversy about how he was actually killed. They believe it was either an Allied tank or a British aircraft. So depending on the source of where you actually read this, one is favored over the other. Here we go. This is my first Tiger tank. I actually do not have a single Tiger model, so I'm super happy to get this. I'm glad that this is the one. Even the regular Tiger models are far more expensive than $200. So I was super happy to get this. So here he is. This is him. I believe this is him, or maybe it's the loader. Actually, that's not him. This is, who's this guy? Where was this guy? Is this him? This must be him. Yeah, that's the commander's hatch, right? So that's where he hangs out. Oh, no. Hang on. We have another one here. So maybe this one is this guy. I don't know. Oh, now it all makes sense. This guy's there. This guy's here, and this is Michael Wittmann. There we go. I would think so, right? Because he's got the papers there, so he's maybe reaching for the papers. Let's see, does he fit better in here? No. Oh, looks better in there. Cool. Yeah, so just for size comparison, let me bring it up. Let me bring my Sherman Easy 8, just so we can... So here's my Sherman Easy 8, just for size comparison from King & Country. Yeah, quite a big difference here in size. It's pretty cool, honestly. But so of course the Tiger has the 88 millimeter cannon, which was dreaded and feared by the Allied soldiers. I wonder how many times this guy here sustained an injury from the turret turning. Or maybe he only pops out when he knows the turrets won't be turned. They probably put the turret up when you're driving, right? Yeah, same problem here, I guess. But yeah, so the turret in this on the Tiger is massive. The chassis is quite a bit larger. The body of the tank. So here we go. Michael Wittmann's last tank. This is actually, honestly, in really decent shape. And I got this for $217. $217. And all we have, the only issues here, we have a small chip on the track, a small chip on the bottom there, and a small chip on this side. Everything else is in, and a tiny, tiny chip here on the hatch, which is negligible. You can hardly notice it. So for the price, for the value of this tank that I have seen, I've seen these go as high as $745. Now, obviously not mint condition, but I mean, do you need it to be? Look at this. This thing's awesome. It's so heavy. It's so incredibly heavy. There you go, Michael Wittmann. And he might be talking to these guys here. He's like, yeah, we should go this way. I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm telling you. And then he gets destroyed. That's how I assume it happened. That's maybe how it happened. Here we go. These guys are also debating it here. He's reloading his rifle. Cool. I'm very excited to add this to my collection. So here we are, guys. Very German heavy unbox, but I started to accumulate these quite a bit. So it was time to start lumping them in by country, because they are building up. So my next unbox, actually, I'm torn between doing a Napoleonic unbox and doing a World War I unbox, and also doing a D-Day series unbox, because I've got quite a few of those, but I've done those before. And then I also have some ultra rare US paratroopers that I am dying to open up, that I received at auction as well. I talk about them a little bit in my documentary, the second part of my documentary. And so I'm super excited to open those up. Take a quick look at these guys here. Yeah, this is a pretty good haul. Most of these guys are in really good shape, so I'm very happy. I'm very happy with these. Okay, well, thanks for watching, guys. And remember to like and subscribe. And there's a lot more unboxings coming, so just stay tuned. Keep an eye out. Click the little bell to get a notification, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys later.